Hey 8th grade, so if you guys remember, we were talking last week that we are going to be starting perspective. What we're working on is 1-point linear perspective, and you guys are going to need white paper, a ruler, and a pencil. Perspective is a mathematical illusion that shows depth. It is using math and science. Therefore, we have a right and a wrong way to do this. So there are a lot of rules, and that's why we need practice. You're going to do this in steps. Today's step, as soon as you're finished, you will need a photograph and email it to me, and then I'll post the next video tomorrow. With perspective, and I want to show you guys some examples from students. You can see this one right here, that they are lining things up to the vanishing point, which is in the back. Okay, get my ruler and pencil out of the way. So they are lining stuff out here into the back to the dot. That dot is your vanishing point, okay? So everything will recede back to that dot there. If we look at this example, I can take the ruler, line the bottom of this building up, it goes to the dot. I can go to the top of this building, it comes to the dot, okay? This student, this was a couple years ago, but this student was obsessed with Vampire Diaries. So we can see that she created Mystic Falls. She has all the lines, even the cemetery here with the fencing, going to the vanishing point. This one, if I remember correctly, I think this was Doofenshmirtz's building from Phineas and Ferb. So all the lines here on the building go to the dot. The fence post here goes to the dot. This student example, it was raining. So they have, it might show up a little bit on camera, but we can see that there are some lines coming down and some raindrops coming down here. And again, all these lines are going to the dot. Now, this right here is not correct, okay? And I'll show you why. If I take my ruler to the top of the building, you can see that this line is coming down to the dot, but that window is not. So they should have brought their line this way. And that's some of the rules we're going to be talking about. This one right here, this student was obsessed with Batman. I think it turned out pretty good. They got the Batcave, the Bat symbol, here's Catwoman, here's Batman. But again, look at the lines on the building. This is all receding to the vanishing point back here. We can see this building right here where all the lines are receding to the vanishing point back here. It does take practice. All right, so what we will do today is you want your paper horizontal, so it's landscape. Go ahead and put your name in the bottom right corner for me, and go ahead and write practice 1. Remember, you're going to have to take a picture and email it to me. I need to see the practice. You will also need to label everything that I'm telling you guys to label. My ruler is a clear acrylic ruler, and if you look at it, I have a little extra spacing over here before it gives me my markings. I could use the edge of my ruler, or I can use the lines here. You might have a solid ruler, or yours might be clear as well. I want to come about a quarter way down from the top, and I want a horizontal line, okay? It needs to be horizontal. If I do this and I just draw the line, it's slanting, it's diagonal. So you can take the edge of your ruler, line it up right here, and you have a horizontal line. Since mine's see-through, I could even line those lines up to the edge and have a horizontal line. A lot of people will line it up and they start drawing their line and their ruler moves. If I have this here and I'm all lined up, spread your fingers out and push down. Spread your fingers out and push down, and then draw your horizontal line, okay? This is our horizon line. I want you to label that. This is where the earth meets the sky. This is our horizon line. On the horizon line, I want to create my vanishing point. That's where everything recedes to. It does not have to be dead center, okay? It's a little more interesting sometimes if you take it off center. So I could go a little more to the right. I'm going to come over here a little bit to the left, and I will create my vanishing point right on the line. Go ahead and label this. We are learning. This is the vanishing point. We are studying 1-point linear perspective. You could have 2-point perspective. You could also have multiple point perspective. A lot of the video games that you guys like to play is using multiple point perspective. It's why you can turn your characters around and see all sides of them. Various cartoons and movies like Toy Story, for example, they start out first with a flat drawing, then they go to 1 point, and then they move it up to a 4-point perspective so they can see all sides of it. Some of you guys may have seen that cartoon years ago. It was In and Out, you know, the one with the emotions. You got anger and all that stuff. Do you remember they went through this one little room and suddenly they changed into all these little shapes and they got flatter and flatter? It changed the perspective. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So with this right here, I have my sky and I have my ground. Let's create a road. I'm going to take my ruler and I need it to touch that dot. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw this line right here. I don't want the road to be really wide like a slice of pizza, okay? So I'm going to say I want my road, let me move this up, to be about this wide here. We are the viewer. That means we're at the bottom and we are looking this way, okay? Again, we're at the bottom and we're looking this way. So if this is how wide I want it to be, I'm just going to make myself a little mark, all right? I'm going to take my ruler and I want it to touch the vanishing point and touch the mark at the same time. So my ruler is touching here and it's touching here, and I will draw my line. All right, so I have this road now that's starting to look a little bit like a road. You guys are going to get to that age soon where you're going to start studying to how to drive. If we have these dashes here, we know that's a passing zone. If I have double lines, you cannot pass at all. If I have a solid line here and dashes on this side, only this side of the road can pass. If I have dashes here and a solid line here, only this side can pass, okay? Because we're learning how to do this, we're going to go with the dashes. I'm going to come down here to the bottom because, again, we are the viewer. We are here at the bottom. And that dash is going to have some width to it. So I'm going to say from down here, that dash is this wide. If you guys can see that, I know it looks small, but right there. This is a straight stretch road. Our eyes will start to blur and blend those lines together in the back. So here we might start seeing the dashes get smaller, 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 smaller. And then back here it might look like a solid line, even though we know it's dashes. It's because it's so far away, our eyes will blur that and create that illusion. So the next time you're at school and you look down the hallway, all the way down the hallway, you might notice that things in the back are blurrier, okay? And people look a little closer together because they're so far away from you. So for this, and I wish I could zoom in a little more for you guys, I'm going to line my ruler up here and then to the vantage point. You can see that my ruler is touching the dot and my ruler is touching this here. All right? Objects closer to us will look bigger. Objects further away will look smaller. I'm going to start here in the back. I'm going to have a solid line. Now I'm going to start to break it up where the lines start to get longer and longer. And when I move my ruler, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay? So, at the moment, I have this long line, shorter, 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 shorter. Okay? I need to draw this side of the line. So I'm going to line my ruler up to this little marking and this right here. And guys, you can pause and rewind because you want to make sure you get this right. So this is here. Don't let your ruler slide. This is here, here. What you're going to notice is those lines are getting closer and closer together. We're back here. I don't even need to trace those because it's just going to be a line on top of each other. So if I look, this line is wider, getting thinner, 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 okay? Connect these with a horizontal. Okay, so I have that passing zone lines right here on the road. This actually looks a little too long to me. I kind of want to erase it and end it right here. And then start the other one going off the page. It's just driving me a little crazy. Okay, so we have these lines right here. Here's the road. What I see a lot, okay, what happens a lot is people will draw their road, okay, they'll have it, and then they'll come to the dashes, and then suddenly they have short, long, short, long. Okay, we don't want that, okay? It should be long, getting shorter, 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 shorter as it goes further back. The other thing I see is somebody will decide they can just draw their own lines here, and they think they got it, but this is not lining up to the vanishing point. So I should be able to take my ruler to this side and see all the lines touch the dot, to this side and see all the lines touch the dot. It's kind of like a taper. It's wider back here, thinner back here. And again, it takes practice, okay? I want to create a side road over here. Just on one side, let's not even focus about the other side right now. So I'm going to pick this area. I want my side road to start here. You can just guesstimate. If I take my fingers and measure there and turn it to the side, I kind of get the illusion that this is how wide that would be. The trick here is to make sure you have a horizontal line. So again, line your ruler up. Draw the horizontal line. Line the ruler up. And draw your horizontal line. Okay? I don't need this anymore. Alright, so I now have my road with a side road right here. I also want to have the dashes there. So the rule is, again, objects in the back are small, closer together. Objects up front are larger, more spaced out. It's closer to us. Okay? So that means my dashes would not be dead center, because if I had this dead center, it would be right here, and our dash could not be here. Okay? So for this illusion, our dash has to be higher up. So it's like I have this spacing here, and I have more spacing here. Okay? So we have to create that illusion with the dash. Also, these dashes will be horizontal, and they'll all be the same size. So you can make all these dashes the same size. You have a ruler to help you out with that. So if I had a dash here, had a little bit of space, dash here, space. Let this one go off the page, okay? My camera's making it look crooked. It's okay. Then we need to show that it's wide. So I'm going to have to come right here. So now I can see I've got spacing here and right there. For the sides, that's where it needs to line up to your vanishing point. So over here we were able to close off these rectangles with just a horizontal, but this is where we have rules. So I'm going to line my ruler up from the vanishing point to this end right here, connect. Vanishing point to this end right here, connect. So each time I have to line my ruler up to that vanishing point. So if you look, it's still touching the dot right back here. So these lines are going to slant. And guys, again, you can pause, rewind, but we need these lines on the side to slant to create that illusion. So right here when I slant, you'll notice that this line needs to be longer to meet it. And when I slant this one, this line needs to be longer to meet it. And it creates that illusion that this is going that way there, that we are here looking that way. Now, for this road here, this would be like if you're in town, in a city, but what if I was on a country road, okay? So I'm going to just flip your paper over. If I had a country road, here's my horizon line, here's my vanishing point. So if my road had a curve like this, again in the back, objects far away are small, close together. Object fronts are large and more spaced apart. I could just follow that curve and create my country road like this. Okay, so I can see that this is more narrow, this is wider here. Okay. Flip it back over to the other side. We want to talk about sidewalks. With sidewalks, we have a lot of rules. Okay, lots of rules. Let's put a sidewalk up at the top right here. When you are walking on the road to get to a sidewalk, you have to lift your feet up to get onto the sidewalk. They're laying down that slab of concrete there. They're creating a curb as well. So we need to see that thickness. The easiest way to do that is to actually flip your paper upside down so you can see this line. Line your ruler up, and yeah, I wish I could zoom in a little better for you guys. You are going to create a very skinny rectangle here where this line is right above that line, and I know it's going to be hard to see, but there is a line here. When people draw their sidewalk, you do not want it bigger than your road. I think one of these examples, the student examples, had the road, like the sidewalk bigger. Let's see. This sidewalk right here, look how wide that is, and then compare it to this road. That's too big, okay? And when we create our sidewalk, we want it to be smaller than that road. So if this road was split in half right here, you can see that this one is smaller than that road, okay? So that right there was just the thickness, like the thickness to that slab of concrete. This line is the actual sidewalk. So let me flip it back around the way it's supposed to be. We created the two lines. This is now the thickness, okay, that depth to step up on it, and this is the actual sidewalk. When you put down that much concrete, you're going to have to put those lines into it so that during the heat and the cold with summer and winter, the concrete doesn't crack on you. So you could use your ruler, and you could actually use that as a guide to create these little lines here. And I'm going to put the markings, and you want them to match. So you want to space them out evenly. This is just showing me on the side where the lines are. And then we're going to have that rule where everything needs to recede to the vanishing point. And this is why you need to go slow. Rewind if you need to rewind. And I need to see this before we move on to the next step. So you got to take a picture and send it to me. If I come here to this first dot, our first mark, line that ruler up to the vanishing point and that first mark. Draw that line. Go to your next one. The vanishing point and that mark. Draw that line. The vanishing point and that mark. Draw that line. So each time you need to move your ruler. Make sure it is touching the vanishing point. Okay, it has to. So if I line this up right here, I can see, if I have this little guide, I can see that it is coming back to the vanishing point. What you don't want, okay, don't come in here and just draw straight lines like this. We don't want that. That will not create the illusion. Also, don't just guess and take all the lines like this. That also will not create the illusion. If I came way over here and I line that to the vanishing point, Notice how that slope is different from this slope here. Okay, so if I look at this example, that slope for this line, it goes to that dot. This slope for this line, it goes to the dot. Okay, and you can see how it's kind of changed as it goes. Each one of those will go to the dot. Also, and this happens every now and then, somebody will take all their lines this way and it's not going anywhere near the dot. All right, this line way over here, it's pretty far away from the vanishing point. It's going to have a dramatic slope. Look at that. Okay, but that is right, because if I line that up to the vanishing point, and here I'll show you with the guide, it is going to the dot. Okay, so for your practice today, horizon line, vanishing point, draw a road, the side road, and draw this top part of the sidewalk. Okay, so you're going to have this top part of the sidewalk right here, making sure it goes to the vanishing point. That's all I want to see on practice 1. So you've got to email me this picture, and then tomorrow you're going to have a new video that shows you the next step. It does take practice, okay? So you'll start with a clean sheet of paper tomorrow. So we're going to have our road with the dashes and our sidewalk. Make sure you have everything labeled. We need to know what this is. This is the vanishing point. This is your horizon line. We are doing 1-point linear perspective. So guys, remember to email me that picture. I need to check it off for credit. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Email me.